10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, Wrestle Talk Podcast, and welcome. Episode number 527, ladies and gentlemen. This should be another great episode. I cannot wait. We are going to be sitting down and talking with the one and only Jeanne Basone, ladies and gentlemen. She was one of the original Glow Girls, and, she was known as Hollywood. She has done it all. She has been an actor. She's been a stunt woman. She's been an author. She's come out with her own book. She's just done a little bit of everything. She's an entrepreneur. So just plenty of stuff to talk about with her. Can't wait to sit down with her. Gonna be an absolute great night. Last time she was supposed to be on, she had to reschedule, but we were able to get her rescheduled for tonight. And so looking forwards to that. But, first off, welcome everybody. It is great to have y'all here. Normally I am here with Gabriel Arsen, but he's running a little behind tonight. So I do have somebody filling in for him till he can get here, though. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you will welcome with me for the first hour here, the one and only Ace, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, Ace?
Good. Seeing a lot better, man. I got my new eyeballs in this morning, so hey, I'm seeing a lot better. You'd be surprised how bad your eyes are until you go for like your checkup, and then they're looking like, hey, you're blind as a bat. You need new glasses. I'm like, sure. I pick them up, and as soon as I put them on, it's just a whole different world. And it's amazing, man. But I'm seeing a lot better. I feel a lot better. I ain't got the eyes hurting right this minute. Probably should have done this years ago.
But, the thing that gets me is you go to the eye doctor, they give you a prescription, you go, you pick up your new glasses, and the first thing they do is they make you look in a mirror so you can see how damn ugly you really are.
Yes, and that was the first thing. I put them on and looked in the mirror and was like, I thought I got out of that awkward high school dork stage, but it never really leaves you.
So, but, it's great to have you here with us tonight, Ace. You've been a great asset to the team since you've joined, and we are just happy to have you here. And it's not often that I say nice things to you, so don't get a swelled head or anything.
I was waiting for the punchline on that one. I'm like, wait, he set me up.
Yeah, but shout out to Andrew Dowdy checking in.
Mr. Andrew,
great to have you here. He purchased one of your belts from you, and I know he was absolutely loving it. And checking in from Susie there. So
Susie, cute.
Just great to have everybody here. But of course, as always, we have a few housekeeping things to start out with here. And first off, let's start off with our great and wonderful sponsors here because, we would not be here without our sponsors. So, as always, we want to thank Retro Zone, Painter's Dream Productions, Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, Doomed Outfitters, that's my man Ace sitting over there, World Domination Wrestling Alliance, we have that great partnership with them. And of course, the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. If you don't know about it, check us out. Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter on Facebook. Myself, Ace, Susie, we are all a great part of that great group. And just great time. We shoot promos on each other and just really have a good time there. And if you win a title, you actually get the real title. And if I ever get mine back, I'll show it again, I promise. But, he was supposed to show up last show and didn't show up. And the show before that, he was supposed to show up. Last show, they said it was because he just wanted to come defend his All-Atlantic Championship. But, with people threatening bodily harm to him, he didn't want to come.
I can imagine.
Sounds like a chicken cop-out to me, but, we'll see what happens.
Sounds more like my Thursdays at work, but,
So, but as always, check out the FWWC on Facebook. And, if you want to be a part of it, be sure to click that join link. You have a few little questions to answer there. Just say yes to those questions, and we'll be in touch with you. We'll get you going. And, I know we're not in the FWWC segment yet, but just a little bit of news here for the FWWC. When it comes to joining, of course, you start out in what we call FED. That is our development brand. That's, of course, FWWC Evolution and Development. I am the admin for the FED, and you start out down there, you learn the ropes, and you get to go up to the main roster. But now I have discussed with the board of directors to add a co-admin to the FED, just to help me out with some things, because just so much going on. And so I am happy to announce that our co-admin is the one and only Ace, so I am now working with him in the FED as well. So, that'll be a great addition. I've talked to several of the people in the FED, and, they're excited to have you come aboard as co-admin. They're excited to work with you. They've said that you've discussed a lot of ideas since just in what they've talked to you, and they're getting really excited for it. So definitely looking forward to it. But so welcome aboard to that. And but we may get into a little more business there in the FWWC segment, but which we aren't there yet, but we will talk about that a little bit later. Shout out to Jimmy Harris checking in. Always great to see you, Jimmy. Susie says she's not sure whose head is shinier.
I kind of take the cake on that one.
I was gonna say right now I think his is, because mine's got a little hair up there right now, a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's the lighting too, man. We got them white bright bulbs up here. It kind of adds that extra shine to it.
But yeah, so all right. Now for the next bit of housekeeping here, as always, because I know everyone is just absolutely clamoring for this. They can never wait for this to happen. It is time for us to pay homage to the best damn country around, being America. So if you please remove your hats, place your hands over your heart for the playing of our national anthem. Oh, it brings a tear to your eye or blood to your ears every time, one of the
It's not
two.
supposed to. Yeah. Yes.
I think somebody said that Jeremy Carp has a aneurysm every time we do that. So but I think that's about it for the housekeeping section. You got anything else there that you want to hit on before we really get diving in? And
Well, I don't know if it relates to FWWC, but yeah, we might wait until the FWWC segment. We'll jump on it then.
all right, that sounds good. We can, like I say, because we will hit an FWWC segment here after a while. I haven't heard from Big Daddy. I don't know if he's going to be joining us or not. I'm kind of hoping he does. I always love to talk to Big Daddy, but so we'll see what happens throughout the evening. And so I guess with that being said, it is time that we jump into that high spot segment.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like flare chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like a runner's speeches of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a clock flash, look like a belly flop. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
I miss
All right.
head bang with the long hair back in high school. My hair was like down here. And man, I used to love it, man. I'd be like right there front row, just rocking out. But yeah, it don't really have that same effect anymore.
I could never get mine to grow past the collar line. It always curled back up. So, but so all right, let's go ahead and hit that randomizer and let's see what it's got for us tonight to talk about here. So. All right, let's see the first thing it's going to bring up.
Oh, TNA.
So we're going to talk a little TNA right off the bat here. And let's see, what is the question here for TNA? Is TNA a legitimate rival brand for AEW, and will they become the next big promotion with their deals with WWE?
Ooh, that's a good one.
All right, let's go ahead and let's hear what you got to say on that, Ace.
So here's where I see that. I think that AEW dropped the ball. I remember when AEW first started and they had this little deal with TNA, and I think they really just screwed it up. TNA tried back years ago when they had all the old washed up stars. Let's be honest. They had Hogan and Flair, and they tried to become too much like WCW, kind of like AEW is now to some small extent. I believe that it's a lot more popular now. People are starting to notice. I believe that the deals with WWE is really going to take off. And do I see them as a rival for AEW? no shade on AEW whatsoever, but at this point, it's almost as if they're surpassing. I see a lot more people tune in to NXT just to see if TNA is trying to jump in. I see people tuning in to TNA just to see if NXT is jumping in. I believe that AEW is starting to flounder. So, yeah, definitely a legitimate rival. And as far as surpassing, and becoming that next big brand, I really see that can be, if they play the cards right and book it right. Let's be honest, they got to book it the right way. They can really book that as they've already done the takeover angle where they take over NXT, technically WWE. Imagine that going main roster, like them jumping over, and you have guys jumping on main roster. You had TNA guys at Royal Rumble, TNA guys at WrestleMania. So I believe within about the next year, that's going to be a number one brand all over the country, all over the world.
All right. Well, TNA, I think a lot of people, for the longest time, I think they kind of forgot TNA was even there. And then, they started, like you said, they started getting some better talent. They really did. They had Moose and Hammerstone, and they really had some better talent than what they used to have when they used to just pull people from other rosters. Once they left there, and I think they really started improving. Then I think with this deal with WWE, I think it really shed some new light on them. So as far as could they be a legitimate rival for AEW? Yeah, I really believe they could. I mean, AEW is really putting me in mind of, like WCW back in the days when, it was, oh, this person's no longer with WWE. Let's get them on WCW. And I mean, don't get me wrong, TNA does that some, but not nearly as much as AEW does. So I think that they could definitely surpass AEW, as you said. As far as will they be the next big thing because of the deal they've got with WWE, I don't know that they'll ever actually rival WWE. I don't know that they'll ever get that big, but I definitely believe they could rival AEW and surpass them. Now, yeah, AEW, they have their ties with New Japan. They have, they went out and they bought. Oh shoot! Why did it just go out of my head? Ring of Honor. They went out and bought Ring of Honor. So
now, wasn't Ring of Honor originally part of WWE, like a development group for them years ago?
I don't think it was. I know OVW was.
Yeah.
I don't think Ring of Honor was, because Ring of Honor, I believe, nobody really knew who Ring of Honor was a whole lot until Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. Well, down here we did. And I remember because it was big in Florida, and I remember going to a lot of shows there in Florida. They did actually come up into Georgia a few times there years back. So down here, we knew about Ring of Honor. And, of course, you had guys like CM Punk that went on into WWE and stuff, and they name drop and do different stuff. So I think that exposed a lot more. I give CM Punk a lot of credit, honestly, for exposing that, at his time. You know what I mean? And of course, you just said Cody. Cody, when he done it, oh man, it skyrocketed. So,
oh yeah, and I believe, I'm not 100% sure, because honestly, I never really saw Ring of Honor much before Cody, so I can't speak to their history a lot, but I believe they actually started in the Baltimore, Maryland area, which is only about an hour and a half up the road from me. Um, but like I say, I really didn't know who they were until Cody Rhodes came along, and that's when I noticed them really become a household name.
Okay.
And Nightmare Jones and Susie and myself, we all went to a Ring of Honor show one night, and that was my first real major exposure to Ring of Honor. But AEW's bought them. I think AEW ruined them. I think they're nothing more than an extension of them anymore.
Yep.
And Assad says that they were affiliated with National Wrestling Alliance.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's another group that I hear is fixing to make a huge comeback. NWA, they're pushing to be that top brand like they were back then. And of course, if you didn't have the NWA, you wouldn't have had WCW back at the time, and hell, all the legendary stars that eventually went off into what is now WWE and stuff like that. So I would love to see what they call the real world championship comeback. And of course, if you know anything about the history of NWA, that's what they called that belt, was the real world championship. I'd like to see that come back and be that rival to what the WWE is now. And with the right promoters, the right stars, oh man, I mean, I think it would skyrocket. It would be great, to revisit or at least experience that again, like we had when we were kids. Man, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you mentioned NWA making a comeback, and they are. I'm starting to see a lot more of NWA. And the thing about it is, NWA making a comeback, they're doing it really without signing a lot of these former WWEs.
Yeah.
Everybody else, they tend to grab these people that come from WWE to bolster their name. NWA isn't doing that. NWA, they're traveling the nation, whether people realize it or not. Some people may not, some people may. But they're traveling the nation, and they're getting a lot of top name indie stars.
Oh yeah.
Well, and they are really doing well with them.
Yeah.
I know from this area there are several names that they have from this area. I know they have Cowboy Carlson from this area. I know they've had Party McFly from this area, Tyler Awesome from this area. So from my area alone, I know they've had several people, but they're picking them from all over the United States and really starting to make a comeback without using the WWE name. And I really applaud them for that, because so many people, that's the route they go, is just let me get these names from WWE and let me build on their name instead of making their own name.
And I think that's what the good part of NWA, even a few years back, look at how many of them went on to be in the WWE now. You had Nick Aldis, you had even Cody at one time did a stint in NWA. R-Truth, back when he, first got in, he was NWA. There's a lot of them that are major stars in the WWE now that got either their start there or they had their stint there and got worldwide known. And then, of course, when they jumped over in WWE, it just did that much more for them. So I believe the NWA actually built a lot of, or it should have more credit for building some of the stars you see in the WWE now, and some over in AEW, and even some of the ones over in TNA. So if they was to take the ability that they have to build these superstars and make it all original like it was back then, which of course back then you had the territory days, so everybody was kind of a mixing pot, but if they was to take that ability to do and make the stars and bring back the prestige of the real world title like it was back then, oh man, I think they would be a huge, company to deal with. And think of how many guys that are unhappy with WWE, how many is unhappy with AEW. Just they're looking for that escape. They're looking for something different, and they're looking for the attention. And just imagine, say, if oh man, LA Knight was to go back to NWA. Like, say, if he got tired of WWE, said, you know what, bam, he comes over there and he is the real world champion. That would put him on the map, something serious, and I think that would do wonders for that company. Not necessarily using, the WWE name, but using LA Knight, a character that was already built in NWA over there, and then just having him skyrocket. Man, yes, I would watch every episode.
Yeah, definitely. And, Assad points out the NWA is actually on, NWA Power is on Roku TV.
Yep.
So, they are starting to really get some exposure. And, so definitely look forwards to seeing where they go, and looking forwards to seeing. It's just overall a great time to be a wrestling fan right now, because there's just so much content out there, so much wrestling. No matter where you look, no matter where you go. And, even some older stuff, is starting to get noticed, and brought back. Like, I believe it was Netflix that brought back a version of Glow Wrestling. Now it has nothing, it's not the Glow of yesteryear, back in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
back when Hollywood and all of them were wrestling, but they've kind of brought it back. And, so it's definitely interesting to see how much wrestling is catching on right now.
Oh yeah.
And how much people are just bringing, how much people are bringing to the forefront from wrestling, from both yesterday and using now. And it really is just a great time to be a wrestling fan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, all right, I think we beat this one enough. How about you?
Yeah, we can move to the next one.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's see what else we got up in the randomizer tonight. Oh boy.
Talking about being beaten to dirt. Good God. Jeez.
Thoughts on Mercedes Moné? Is she the best women's wrestler at this time, or highly overrated? Wow. This one just seems to be an absolute loaded question. I hear so much talk about Mercedes Moné, and we got our guest tonight checking in. So thank you for checking in. We look forward to talking with you. She'll be on here. She'll be on here with us soon, and definitely love to get some of her point of views and stuff on things. But you hear so much about Mercedes Moné, and honestly, I think they've blown her up too much, way too much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and given her 12 titles now?
12, yeah.
Come on, that's ridiculous. Nobody should hold 12 titles at one time. I don't care who you are.
Exactly.
If she gets hurt, if she was to break her ankle or break her leg, how many titles are going to be vacated at one time? How many people are going to be scrambling for a new champion? How many storylines are going to be messed up? It's ridiculous. And they don't think about stuff like that, and they put her on this pedestal and just it's just absolutely ridiculous. So I think she's highly overrated myself. I don't think she is the best women's wrestler right now. There's just too much talent out there, too much going on to say she is the best. So, you know, and I saw something the other day about how much she is charging
Yes.
for an appearance. I mean, let me see if I can find that here real quick. It was $25,000 per indie appearance.
That's ridiculous.
That's what indie company can afford to pay $25,000?
Man, it's like she has the Hogan ego with Eugene talent. And that's not taken away from anything that she might have. Let's be honest, her best days are far behind her. Even in WWE, she started dropping down not because of anything backstage. It's she was not getting the reaction from the crowd anymore. She was not performing to the top of her abilities anymore. And I understand people get injured. I understand in time you're not able to perform some of the stuff you do. Trust me, I know. Let's see, how many locker rooms are just given up because there's nothing to go for? And that's a good point. And you ask about how many storylines and how many belts are going to be vacated. Well, let's ask how many are actually relevant right this minute she holds, and not taken away from any promotion or any title that they may promote, push. But let's be honest, at this point, over half the titles that she has are nothing more than just participation trophies. I can name one, and I think that's don't she have the AEW TNA title or something like that? Or the TBS title or whatever. I can't even remember the name of the title. It's irrelevant, honestly, a lot of times with her. But you got maybe two titles that are possibly mid-card at best in a promotion that's not really the greatest, that's not well known, that let's be honest, they're coming up with more titles than they have superstars. And a lot of these places that she's going that's putting titles on her, it's like, yeah, we could just put it on her. This is going to get this title put out there. Okay. And anybody outside of looking it up, name one title she's got that's really going to matter if it just disappeared. I don't really think that she's ever going to be the best. I don't think she ever was. If you look at some of her older matches, and I know right now she's going back and forth. If you read anything online, she's had this issue with Bayley from WWE. I believe Bayley, hands down, was way better than she is. She was carried in a lot of her matches. Some of her matches with Flair. Great performances, great matches. But when you really dissect a match, like some of us do, you dissect a match, there are a lot of times that she is carried through her matches. And how long before that's just flat out exposed, and which I think it already has been, but how long before that's exposed to the point where people's like, okay, now we have enough. She's not that good. She's straight up got the ego of, at this point, becoming even more of a joke than Hogan was at one time. I don't really think she's ever going to be the best. I think on a scale of 1 to 12, as far as overrated, she's like a 15. So she's got to cut back. I think these promotions are going to stop having to put the titles on her and face reality that at this point they're a laughing stock. She is a laughing stock, and that's all she's ever going to be. And anything associated with her after this point now is really going to damage their image, even associating with her.
Yeah, definitely. But somebody I know absolutely wants to jump in on this question. He is sitting in the back, just chomping at the bit. So, let's get him in here and get his input on this question. He is the young lion with the old soul, the one and only Gabriel Arsen.
Coming in loud and clear.
Loud and clear, sir. We hear you.
All right. I apologize for the change in decor and audio quality. I am currently away for work, but I'm streaming from my mom's house.
Well, at least you trimmed those hairs.
Throwing it back to the closet for those alpha OGs that remember me filming in my basement.
Sometimes they never truly come out the closet.
concur, Ace.
Great for you to join us and everything. And
Thank you guys for picking up the slack while I was gone. I'm not even gonna lie. You
so,
guys made that way more interesting than I could have, I swear.
So obviously we are talking about Mercedes Moné.
That's
And
it.
Was that your question, Ace?
Yes.
Is she? I think that honestly, I think they're all Ace's questions tonight. But is she the best women's wrestler at this time, or is she highly overrated? And I
Yikes.
know you want to give us your input.
I'll be honest, I don't know that she's the best women's wrestler in AEW. And that's not a knock against AEW. That's because a lot of women in that branch have put that ass to work stories that they either worked through or were lucky enough to have an opportunity at. And then it's like Mercedes just kind of shows up and is like, hey, I won this thing. Cool. It's like she keeps winning stuff to remind you that she's doing stuff. And we're like, we know you're doing stuff. We care more about what these girls are doing. Like, the beauty and the failure in her storytelling, guys. I was watching the pay-per-view and it was like I was more interested in what was happening to Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa after they lost. And I'm just like, I'm more interested in this story. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, are they lesbians? Like, are they hooking up? What's going on? But it's like with Sasha, I'm just like, well, now she's already kind of broken the record. And you guys remember I was in the group chats talking about all the stupid addendums and splitting hairs about how I'm like, well, the Ring of Honor belt is interim, so it doesn't count. And this one is actually 2 belts and it's 1 championship, so it doesn't count. Like, trying to justify the numbers, right?
Yeah.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah, but I think we all tend to agree here that, she is just way overrated at this point. And
I think she's a fan of herself, and I think that's the issue.
Another point that Susie makes is there are too many locker room women that have earned it. They've earned a shot at those titles. They've earned the right to carry those titles, and they put them on her. They don't give these women a shot at them, or they have them and they take them from them and give them to her. That's just.
See, I had mentioned this in the group chat that my biggest issue was that I'm sure there's a long-term goal here. And I know you mentioned if she gets injured, all those dominoes are just falling after the other when it comes to those belts. But when it comes to the after effect of this, I'm like, Mina could have been the one to beat her record. It's like, how funny would it be that she broke the record for longest champ only to lose the belt the same day? And then it would be revenge for Mina because she lost to her at Wrestle Kingdom for her belt. So it's like, hey, that's her redeeming herself, and combined with her ruining the record, both the Ultimo Dragon record and her TBS title record. Wouldn't that be poetic justice to punctuate that? And her losing a belt in the process after trying to have somebody else. It's a whole thing. There were so many avenues that they could have checked off if they did this now, and they're waiting for us to get to that point. And it sucks because we have to wait for her challenging for the AEW Women's Championship. I'm like, there's no way they give it to her, right? Like, is there a worse decision they can make if they give it to Sasha?
No, that's horrible. I think the problem they have now, though, is, for one, she's only human. Okay, let's be honest. Whether we like her or not, she's still a human. Where, as far as the booking wise, how do you book it from here? Because you got yourself in a corner. You got somebody that holds 12 titles. Now, in order to defend that, any of them, especially 12 of them, she's going to have to literally wrestle every single night for the next, 4 or 5 months back to back to even make any kind of sense defending them titles and it be relevant. Winning, it's one thing. That's great. Now you got to defend those belts. So is she going to win for the next 5 years or win for the next couple of months? And it's almost way too predictable. There's no way possible to book this without it being a complete waste of time and just having her lose it to somebody else next week. And to have, just 12 belts and have to defend every single one of them, that is almost nearly impossible for just one person to do. and not have to wrestle every single day, just nonstop. And especially if you're going to continue to make these belts relevant or even believe that winning this belt really is going somewhere, you're going to have to defend them. I don't believe she can. I don't believe there's no way to book that where it's going to make sense without her really having to win for the next 2 or 3 years back to back. And that's just it's going to get so boring. It's going to get really stupid. And like Susie mentioned, there's people that's, more deserving of this opportunity. What's the point of even going into a match with her or being booked into a match with her if you know you're fixing to have to lose for the sake of a stupid storyline? And they almost did the same thing with Roman Reigns. So then you're running into this idea that, okay, yeah, you already know if this is going to be relevant, she's going to win. What's the point? You get what I mean?
Well, and you mentioned the fact that how much she's going to have to wrestle to defend 12 belts.
Mm-hmm.
That just plays right into what I was saying earlier, because how much can she wrestle? How many days in a row, or is she going to be able to go without a break before she injures herself, before her body just says, okay, that's enough, and she gets hurt?
Mm-hmm.
And just screws all of these plans and everything, just screws it all up. So I can't understand why anybody would want to put as many titles on her as they have, even if she was as good a wrestler as they're making her out to be. You don't put that many titles on one person. You just don't. It's stupid, and I don't understand it. So,
well, just like her, we've beaten this one in the dirt too. So what's the next one?
Well, I'd like to take a moment to stop the program to show you guys my new drip, because I just picked this up recently, and I'm going to be rocking it. And then it's got little little cloves in the sleeves, and it's got a zipper. It's hard to see. It's got a zipper.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Why is there a zipper on the arm? I don't care, because it's awesome. And then the best part, I don't know if you guys can see this on camera. The red.
Oh yeah. I don't know what it says, but that's actually really cool.
It says Death Note, bro.
Oh, the Death Note. Okay, I thought that looked familiar. I've only watched that movie like one time, and I think there's like a
Shinigami, yo. It's a god of death. They're like Grim Reapers.
Okay.
It's just proof that Gabriel Arsene is the only Grim that matters in Wrestle Talk podcast and in the FWWC.
The forbidden name. No, anyway.
So, all right. Well, that is an awesome shirt, and you might want to watch how you say that you're the only Grim that matters, though. Maybe on Wrestle Talk podcast for the most part, and maybe in the FWWC. But if you ever get to see Grim that's in WDWA, you might not want to say he doesn't matter. That might be a mistake. But
I'm willing to go to death for that, bro. I'm making the shout out. If he wants to talk trash, we can talk trash. But also we can do it on Wrestle Talk podcast if he wants to make a thing out of it.
Hey, when they announce him at the shows, he weighs in at 25 body bags, okay? But yeah, so let's go ahead and let's see what else we got going here. We are a little less than 30 minutes away from Jeannie joining us. So let's go ahead and see what else we got here within the randomizer. All right, the next one is Mr. Uso, Mr. Yeet himself.
Is that his official title?
What, Mr. Yeet?
Yeah.
Let's see, what's the question here? Following his recent spike in dislikes in the eyes of fans online, did the Jey Uso experiment work? Well, Gabe, you want to throw your thoughts in on this one?
See, this is a very difficult question to unwrap because I think the Jey Uso experiment worked in the sense that we had a storyline that it built up to, and a logical conclusion, and a babyface who won, and a new world champion who can at least say they had been world champion, even if it was for a very little while. The issue stems in the fact that it seems like a lot of individuals, myself notwithstanding, are not huge fans of the direction Jey Uso has won as a wrestler, boiling it down to, oh, it's not the wrestler, it's the chant that's over, the chant that's over. And I think that's the definitive question: is the chant over, but is it over because Jay is the only person who can make it over? So that is the question I pose on you two gentlemen.
So you also got to separate, and I'll tell everybody this: there are certain groups of fans in wrestling, and we even had it back then, long before internet, God forbid. Now the internet's come out, you have a whole generation of fans that are, let's be honest, they're brain dead. And I'm not knocking them, but it's like they don't really watch the shows to even know what's going on. They jump online, they see a clip, and you have some nobody like Eric Bischoff, or you have some pissed off ex former wrestler that throws his two bits in. And Kevin Nash is the world's worst. The man is a joke. He was always a joke. I think his opinions are just completely irrelevant because he's irrelevant. And you have somebody like that people, just because he's a legend, and he's a legend, it's whatever. I think in his own mind more than anything, they state a stupid opinion, and then you have these people that just flock to it because they have nothing better to do. They would rather listen to pissant Eric Bischoff, or especially Kevin. What is his damn name? The other one that was in WCW, the one that just ruined it. They would rather listen to them than actually just watch the show. And when you watch the show, I'm sorry, the fans at the arena tell a whole different story. When his music plays, when he comes out, the place explodes. And that's even before the yeet chants. They soak up every word this man says, and he's very well over. I think it worked. I think they knew what they was doing, pushing him. Not necessarily that I personally am a fan of Jey Uso. I don't see him as a world title contender. I never has. Do I see him as a intercontinental champion, U.S. champion, possibly WWE champion? And you got to understand how I view that too. I believe that the world champion for me should be a more prestigious, higher belt than WWE. Only because I guess it's because the WWE belt looks like a joke. I don't care who has it, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. It still looks like a toy. It still looks stupid. That fits Jey Uso. That fits his character. And I'm not saying that he's stupid or he's a joke, but let's be honest, that's more of a gimmick title. Give it to Jey Uso. Okay, I can see him and Cody Rhodes going at it. Do I see him being in a serious match for the World Heavyweight Championship? You're supposed to be the top man in the world. I don't see Jey Uso doing it. So I do think they booked that wrong. But as far as saying that he is only over because of the yeet chance, he's only over because of this. No, man, I think the man, he has the it factor with the crowd. He has the it factor with the ring presence. I believe he needs to work on his skill set. He's trying to way too hard to push the super kick, which everybody in damn wrestling does that now of a certain size, and the spear. He's not believable with the spear. Change up his gimmick. Go back to how it was when it was him and Jimmy. Use the same style, and I believe that the matches will be a lot more believable. But keep it where, I mean, he's not a heavyweight contender. Put the WWE title on him and then just leave it like that. But yeah, definitely push him to the stars, man. Push him to even a match, like I said, Cody Rhodes. I would love to see him and Cody Rhodes go at it. To me, that's more of a matchup that I would be interested in than seeing him and CM Punk, or him and God knows Gunther, or anybody else of that size. I mean, come on, man. Let's just let's see what he's really got against like Cody Rhodes. That's what I want to see.
As far as your thoughts on a lot of the former wrestlers and everything, and former general managers, and all that stuff all those people you brought up. I don't even know what to say.
I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that I may be starting trouble with WDWA, but Ace is starting trouble with Kevin Nash and WCW and Eric Bischoff. So, young lion with the old soul and the old mindset.
Man.
Yeah, but at least he's starting trouble with people who they got to get out of their wheelchairs in order to go after him. You're starting fights with people who they could really hurt you.
I'm where it's at. Okay, that's all it is.
But now, you asked, is the chant over because of Jey Uso, or is Jey Uso over because of the chant? Well, you can look at that with just about anybody, because honestly, could you see anybody else getting over with that chant? I think a lot of people that if they tried that, they'd just look stupid, and it's just like, I mean, you look at them, and over the years, all the different wrestlers and their different catchphrases, their different catch lines, they wouldn't have worked for anybody else. Steve Austin up in the ring going, what? How many people could pull that off without somebody looking at them going, are they stupid? What the hell are they doing? Most people can't pull these things off. It's just the person who gets them, it works. And Jey Uso's the same way, with LA Knight. Yeah. How many people can walk out in the ring? Yeah. And have people fall all over it. Mm-hmm. Most people are going to look at him and go, what is he doing? Is he stupid? Not LA Knight. It works. So I think Yeet is the same way for Jey Uso. He comes out, he's Yeet, it works. And I think it has a lot to do with maybe not so much his wrestling talent as it does his attitude and his showmanship. That's why Yeet works. Mm-hmm. But as far as this experiment, people want to like Jey Uso so much, and they don't want to boo him. They don't want him heel. So, when they were doing stuff and trying to turn him, trying to get fans to start to think he was heel and stuff, I don't think it works. It does not work for Jey Uso's showmanship, basically. People want to be behind Jey Uso. And I think at this point, Jey Uso, people are behind him to the point they could turn him full-blown heel. And people are still going to cheer him because they're just behind him. They just are. And like I say, I do believe, though, that it's more of his showmanship than it is his wrestling ability. Not that he's a bad wrestler. I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he's the top notch of carrying the world title or anything of that nature. I really don't. But I think with his showmanship, he's just got those fans behind him to the point that they're going to stay behind him no matter what.
So do you think it's kind of like the Mick Foley effect? Think about Mick Foley back then. People love Mick Foley. Same scenario, though. Fans loved him. he was not the greatest in the ring. He really wasn't. He was not what you call a world champion. But look at the matches he had. Outside of him putting his body through what he put through, he was that showman, did amazing things as far as that particular what worked for him. And I think that's kind of what's going on with Jey Uso. If it works, stick to it. But I also feel that he has a lot of that Mick Foley effect. He ain't there, but as far as the fan base, oh man, they're going to soak it up regardless of what that man does.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the best way to explain it.
I think the best way that I understand Jey Uso is that's just kind of the WWE system, which is that people that are primarily known for their WWE careers and got over and did their time and got over enough to get the world championship, whether it's just through dumb luck or just through, situations or plans staying to what they needed to be. I feel like there's always a negative response once they reach the mountaintop for whatever reason. It's like I think of every major last WWE champion where it's like, what happened after they won? Everybody immediately started hating them. It's like John Cena became champ, everybody turned. Batista turned champ, everybody turned. It's like even people that turn all the time, like Randy Orton and Triple H, they would always just kind of turn heel the moment they became WWE champion. But people cheer them as bad guys because when they're faces, they don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
Fans are confused.
I think that happened with Cody, though. Y'all notice, like, even with Cody, they cheer.
That happened in AEW.
Yeah, it's kind of to the point where Cody, they put the belt on him, but it's at the point where I think people want to see Cody lose now more than anything. I think the story, and I hate to say it that way, I think the story's over for Cody. I think that's what really got him over was the story. Now the story's finished. Okay, you've won the belt back. There's nothing else. Let somebody else win the belt, and then just keep him out of keep him in the title picture, but don't let him get the belt back for a while. So I believe that's where they need to go with Cody as well.
See, I say this is what it is that with Cody, I don't mind that he's world champ right now. What I want is to see how that affects him. Yeah. And I mean that on like an emotional level because it's like you have to be the one in charge and doing stuff. And it's got to be frustrating. Like, I think there's a slow burn because everybody wants Homelander Cody. And I'm like, it shouldn't happen over a nighttime. It should be something that's gradual. Set the pieces in motion to set it like our villainous descent Cody Rhodes. Mm-hmm. But right now, I'm like, you are the son and you are the following like generation of Rhodes following Dusty. And you become a 2-time WWE champion. What does that mean? And how do you plan to apply that? But that's me, and I watch way too many animes, so I guess I shouldn't write for it. But let's have AI write for WWE instead of the actual dude who knows wrestling.
Right.
You heard that, right? I don't know if we have a question about it, but they were saying that they were planning on implementing AI for writing scripts.
I don't know how that's going to turn out. I mean, have you seen the AI videos right now online? Oh, wow. I was watching one in the office earlier, and I thought I was supposed to get fired. And I'm like, hey, that wasn't me. I had nothing to do with that whatsoever. My boss looked at me like I was a satanic racist. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Like, let me cut this off. But it was just a video that popped up on my phone. And I'm like, this is AI. AI did this, and I'm like, oh, wow. I don't think they need to start writing anything for anybody, really.
Yeah, and no, we don't have a question about that. But, real quick, just because we've got, should be a little over 10 minutes before Jeannie's joining us here. So I have not seen or heard anything from Big Daddy P. Not sure if he'll be popping in. And we do have a few questions left in the randomizer. But before we get into any more of that, let's get into some FWWC business.
Is it end of days? Because I got plenty to say about that Punk Savior Saint.
Amigos, night out. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it over right this minute on this one. So, as you know, we have end of days coming up. Big news coming for Thursday, though. Before I get into the matches, before I get into the card that's coming up, FWWC tonight is returning. And it's returning Thursday. This Thursday, the night before Halloween. It is going to be 8 Eastern. I think that's, I believe, 7 Central, right? It'll be 7 Central, 8 Eastern. The FWWC tonight is coming back. So, sorry about that. I had to respond to the grandbaby. So, yes, the FWWC is coming back. Guys, like I've said before, this is not a podcast. This is an actual show. I've tried to explain it the best way I could. Just, you're going to have to watch it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun making these segments. I've had a lot of fun doing little skits, all sorts of stuff. So tune in Thursday night. I'm not exactly sure how. I think we're going to post it on Facebook. We're going to post it, of course, on the FWC group. Possibly, shoot it over to Wrestle Talk Podcast if they want to air it on their deal. So there's several different ways we're going to be able to air it, several different ways we're going to be able to watch it. And I believe at this moment, we're going to try to keep it like a once a month deal. So once a month episode, we'll tell you the date way in advance. And then hopefully it's going to turn into a weekly episode. Just right this minute, there's just a lot of new stuff coming into it. So that's the big news, FWWC tonight. Now, as far as speaking of the FWWC, we have FWWC End of Days coming up. And the card is going to be packed. It's going to be just one of the most important shows. And the reason why is because we have major titles on the line. We have titles that have been vacant for a while now. And if you follow the FWWC, we're not going to get into why it was vacant. Just know that there is a brand new custom Warriors Heart Championship made. And that's going to be on the line if you want to bring up the card. All right. That's road to End of Days. All right. Well, we ain't going to talk about the End of Days. Monday. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be talking about Monday. Monday, we are going to have a triple threat. Now, see, this is where this is going to get interesting. You have a triple threat match. You have myself, Ace, against your man, Gabriel Arson over there. And you have Savior Saint. Now, these two men, I had a long history with. These two guys, if you know, are your number one contenders for the Warriors Heart Championship. I get opportunity just to be in the ring with them, just to show out a little bit. So tune in Monday for Ace versus Gabriel Arson versus the ruler of the ring himself, Mr. Savior Saint. Now, is there anything else on this card outside of that triple threat?
No, we need to talk about this triple threat because there's plenty I need to get off my chest. But I'd like to point something out because I just want to throw a little wrench into the BOD's job today. Let's throw this out there. I'm squaring up. I'm a number one contender. Saint's a number one contender. What happens if you do end up getting the pin, Ace? Are you next in line, or do we have to make this a triple threat going into End of Days?
Well, me and you, I think we've already good. I kind of see there's a strategy that we're going to have to play by. Me and you, I think from a professional standpoint, it doesn't matter if we're tag teams. It don't matter if we're having to face each other. I believe that me and you can do the job we're assigned to do, and we can get in the ring, put on a show. The question is whether or not we're going to be able to focus on Saint long enough to get him out of our way. Is he going to be a problem? Because we can't deny the man's talent. We can't deny the fact that the man is a number one contender. He is, just like you. He's going for that Warriors Heart Championship. I've had my shot at it. I really have. I've had my shot at the Warriors Heart Championship twice as far as being a contender for it. And I did lose the matches, straight up fair. Matter of fact, the last match I lost to Saint. So in all fairness, I believe this is strictly y'all as far as going into the Warriors Heart title deal. I think this match is just more for, title or not. Let's say who's the big dog. Let's say who's the top man right this minute, because you have three of us that have been on the top for quite a while for various reasons. And that's not saying anybody else is below us. I'm just saying we've been at the top for quite a bit for different reasons. So I believe that between us three, one of us is probably going to carry the business into the future, possibly into next year. I mean, it's going to be one of us that's going to carry it into next year. So I'm excited for this match, not only to get back in the ring with you, but get back in there and get my payback with the Saint.
See, tell you what needs to happen is that me and you as the Assassin Syndicate, we're here on the airwaves right now. Dewan, Renee, we're ready for action. And matter of fact, if I can take an opportunity, you've seen their promo. If I can throw the challenge for the rookies that are so eager to prove themselves. Was it Ulysses? It seems that he seemed to be getting his name incorrect these past couple of days, and quite frankly, we need to see that work because talk is cheap, Ulysses. But the way I see it is, you've seen the spunk in these kids. They got that bite. And I'm saying this as a 27-year-old, but yes, this is the veteran players right here. The Assassin Syndicate, you're on our radar. So I don't know who we have to talk to get this in ink, but if we can try to span this out, best of 5, so both of us can prove ourselves an effective challenge for our so-called FWWC Tag Team Champions, the Brothers in Arms.
I would love, man. See, I'm going to. I love where you're going with this, but I also have somebody else I want to throw in the mix. I would love to see Assassin Syndicate go ahead and take on the former champions, the House of Horrors. And the reason why I say that is, what better way to go ahead and establish your dominance than take out the longest reigning tag team champions in history? Go ahead and knock them off. Say, you know what? Y'all were good. We're that much better. That way it puts them back in their place. They don't think they're above us. And no offense to House Mafia there, but you're on the screen too, and you're in a very, very dominant group right this minute with your sister there. So if the BOD's listening, man, Assassin Syndicate, we're ready for any tag team challenge that y'all want to throw at us. We're willing to put our hats in for the tag team titles. I believe just a fluke match. Put us in there anytime, and we could take them titles.
You talk about the titles. The problem there is you have to remember, you have to be an established tag team. You have to fight 3 times. I think it's 3 times in 6 months.
This is exactly what I'm getting at, though, Hardcore Hoss. We are an official tag team. We're ready for the lineup of matches. That's all that's stopping us. And I can't imagine why the higher ups are telling us, oh, well, we're trying to make sure we make the most out of the established tag teams. How about we establish the only one that matters?
You established that you broke up a while back and never officially got back together. So, see, this would be you officially announcing that you got back together. So now you would have 6 months before you could go for those tag team championships.
I'm waiting for pen to paper. That's all I've been saying.
That would be like telling DX when they got back together, oh, you have to prove yourself. I mean, come on, it's DX. And it's us. It's Assassin Syndicate, man. Come on.
And you mentioned the former tag team champions. Well, one half of the former tag team champions has officially taken some time off. So they are no longer in the picture either.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, they felt the heat. So we could double team the other one. I think you know what? This is what gets me. And by association, he should be qualified, because I'll go ahead and throw this out. If you knew that I was supposed to be in that match, I was in the tag title match for SummerStorm. I was in it. Stuff happened. The partner was out of the way. But me personally beat the tag team champions, both of them, 3 different times on 3 different occasions by myself with both of them in the ring. Not only in a tag team deal, not only on a 2-on-1, but separately and in a triple threat. So I earned my spot to be in a tag shot that I didn't get. So if I was to just say, hey, you know what? Throw me back in the title picture because I already earned that. Gabe, he's appointed now. You've already said we're established tag team now. I mean, I need a tag partner. So it's kind of that earned by association. So he earned it by association.
Well, that's a call for the BOD, but as far as I know, by the standings and rules and regulations that have been adopted, there is officially right now only 2 tag teams active in the FWWC. So you are just now
convenient for
establishing yourself.
The only reason they've gotten by this far is because they weren't wrestling with the Assassin Syndicate.
Exactly.
So, well, it is what it is. That's going to be for the BOD to decide. But so, gentlemen, I believe that will bring us to the end of the FWWC segment for now. And our guest for the evening has come into the back room. So, Ace, are you going to stick around, or do you?
Yeah, I can stick around. I mean, I actually remember watching her when I was younger. Saturday mornings, bowl of cereal. I mean, who didn't have a crush on her? I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I would like to actually get a chance to see her if y'all don't mind keeping me around.
All right. So, as we said, unfortunately, last month when we were going to have her, there was a scheduling snafu, and we were able to get her rescheduled though. So let's go ahead and bring her in. She's very well known around the wrestling world. She also has been an actor, a stunt woman. She she runs her own business. She is a author. She has written her own book, and so let's go ahead and get her in here. She is the one and only Jeanne Basone, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, you guys. How's everybody doing tonight?
Awesome.
You didn't mention Immaculate in that intro, okay? Because that was quite the entrance, man. With
Yes,
no
it
music at all,
was.
you still managed to get the whole room looking at you. So welcome to the show. I just got to take a moment. Thank you.
Now,
Because right now you're bringing the star power we're lacking right now, guys. We got to turn this up.
Oh, you're so sweet, you guys. I just actually got back from Chiller Theater convention, 3 full days. So you know what you feel like after you get done doing conventions. So I'm getting back home and getting back into the, into Jeannie. But it's talking and meeting your fans and like meeting you guys, and wow, what a great response New Jersey was as far as the wrestling went. I was really happy. Super stoked.
You got to visit New Jersey.
Oh yeah, well, no, Chiller Theater, being a guest there was amazing. The fans that came up were incredible. All my books I had there all sold out, and so
we got her on center stage for that. Can we get a look at that?
Yeah, sure. So here's the book.
Please tell us about that. Hooray for Hollywood.
Hooray for, see behind me? This is actually.
Yeah, we can see. That's what.
That's
why
the
is she
book
not in the
cover.
center of the stage, bro? Look at that shot. That's perfect. It's like
Yeah.
right over the shoulder.
Yep, there it is. I thought that I would use that photo one day. It actually was a color photo that I shot with Jeanne Basone. I never use it for anything. And originally I wanted, the old school glow. And the artist, wasn't quite sure. We were talking, and so I'm like, okay, don't worry about it. I go, you don't have to, your photo doesn't have to be in here. And I went with this one. But she let me use the photo for the back, Noelle Rose. And I knew I would use this picture because I love that. That's the iconic Hollywood photo.
There you go. It's
So,
just,
yeah.
I feel like that's the persona. It's just
It is
captured
the persona. This is it. If you watch Glow, this is what
in
you
high
remember.
gloss pics.
Yeah, you would remember that in the 80s. So
Definitely.
absolutely. But of course, I had to do a cover that I thought would shock people. They could go, "Wait, what? What is that?" Hey, I'm a heel, so that's why this works.
No, we can actually talk about that. So you were a heel as your character. Now,
Yes.
do you find that you lean that way as a person normally? Like, are you kind of like,
This is water,
aggressive
by
in
the
what you
way.
do? Liquid
This is
death.
water. This
I've
is
had it before.
water.
I don't know if these guys have.
This is water, by the way.
This is
Mountain water.
spring water.
Okay. No, I'm not drinking a beer here.
We've done plenty and worse.
I'm sorry. Okay, so no, that is not my. Well, you got to read the book because I didn't grow up that way, but I was the oldest, and when you're the oldest, you kind of set a standard for your siblings, and they certainly didn't want to do what I did. We're Catholic, Italian, Spanish, so you know how that works. My dad, when he said to be in at 12 midnight, my ass better be in at 12 midnight. But the party's just happening at midnight. So I'd come home, I'd wait about a half an hour, All the lights are out. It's real quiet. And what would I do? Sneak out the window. You know, it was just what you did. Now, I wish that, nowadays kids are so much more open and they seem to talk. Well, I don't know why I just didn't say, hey, Dad, can I come home at 1? Everybody else gets to come home at 1. So why don't we do that? I wish there would have been more communication like that. But my dad set the rule and I just thought that was it. You better not, you know? No one wants to be grounded, but lots of
I'm sure both of
rules.
my constituents have a couple stories like that they could tell on
Oh,
the podcast.
God.
We've all done something we weren't supposed to, right?
Oh, I did
That's the
it,
appeal.
but I did it plenty of times, not just once. That's the problem. But you know what? The one thing is really cool is when you have those rules, and even though when you're young you think, oh, I know everything, you don't know everything, and you learn. But you know what? When you get older, you're like, man, I am so glad I had that foundation, because that makes you who you are today. It's kindness. It's treat people the way you want to be treated, and that was always thank you, and that was always instilled in our family. So thank you, Mom and Dad.
So we're not a cold-blooded heel.
No,
we still
but I
say
love
thank you to our
playing
moms
that
and dads.
character. It's so great to play that character.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to give away too much out of the book, because obviously we want people to pick up the book and read the book. And, I know this is kind of in the book, but could you tell people kind of how you came to get into Glow Wrestling, and
Of course.
at the same time, how it is that you actually cemented and secured your spot over everybody else to be the first woman of Glow Wrestling?
You know what? That is such a great question to say. How did you secure your position in Glow? When you back then, it wasn't like there wasn't wrestling for women for a women's team. And when I went to the audition, it was a huge audition in Hollywood, California. And I went down, you guys, and I'd never been on TV before. So this was quite scary for me. And when David McLean came on stage to talk to all these women with their pictures and resumes in their hand, he said, this is going to be a TV show about women's wrestling. And when he said wrestling, I was like, okay, I know I've played all kinds of sports, but wrestling wasn't one of them. Besides wrestling your sisters, I guess, you know what I mean? But so I swear to God, I looked around and there was a bunch of girls that got up and left, and that made me more nervous. I'm thinking, wow, do they know something I don't know? And that's why they're like out of here. So after that interview, I went down to where the training was, and that was going to be with Mondo Guerrero. And I had missed the very first week of training. And that was only because the stupid boyfriend at the time was pretty insecure and very jealous. And he didn't want me to do it. So our roommate, Rick, said to me, hey, he said, Jeannie, he goes, how did that audition go? I go, well, Dave doesn't really want me to do it. He goes, are you freaking serious? He goes, you're going to let Dave tell you not to go? He goes, what happens if the show gets picked up? What happens if I'm having an interview with you guys? You know what I mean? And I said, yeah. I go, you're right. I picked up the phone right away, called. They're like, come on down. And you guys, it was downtown LA. When I opened the door, I saw the girls in the ring. Now I'm nervous. They're in the ring, and all they're doing, you guys, is forward rolls, backward rolls, 3/4 rolls. And I'm like, I got this. If that's all they're doing right this minute, that's easy. So now to secure the position of my character, they had told us that we need 12 girls to do a pilot. Now, all of those, there was lots of people coming in for training. However, every time I would come into training, there were less and less girls. Or here's a new one coming in. and I was still there. But the reason is Mondo had said to all the ladies in the ring, he goes, okay. He said, which one of you girls can ram your head in the turnbuckle and land on their back? My hand was up immediately as soon as he said, which one? So David McLean later, so I did it. I mean, I could be a paraplegic right now, but I did it. I know that sounds terrible, but I mean, I would not tell a girl today to ram her head into the turnbuckle and turn over on her back. But anyway,
I think that's a pro tip for life.
yeah, pro tip, don't do that. Don't be like me and go, oh, I could do it. So David McLean years later said, you want to know how you secured your position in Glow? And I said, yeah, tell me. And that was the story. He said, when Mondo, asked, you raised your hand. He goes, right there in my mind, I knew that you would be my first Glow girl hired. And he said, after that was the character Americana. After that was Lisa Moretti, who everybody knows now is Ivory. So us three were really the first 3 out of those 12. We did the pilot, you guys. We sold it to TV. I left my job in the medical field and I moved to Vegas and I did all 4 seasons. So the pilot and the 4 seasons, excuse me. And the rest is history.
Yeah, we see that. I mean, you basically paved the way for modern day women's wrestling as we know it. I mean, I don't think that's an understatement, especially when it comes to the time period.
Yeah, because, during that time, people were like, you do what? What? You know what I mean? It seemed to be frowned upon a lot back then. Not with the fans, but with wrestlers, pro style wrestlers. They thought we were making fun of it. It was just a different type of show. We had David McLean, who came from a pro wrestling background, but then our director, they had to put them together, you guys, and our director, Matt Simber, came from a filming background. And he saw something that was very interesting. They did a slow motion on Matilda the Hun. Matilda the Hun's a very large woman, and when she came off the rope in slow motion, she landed on one of the girls, but every part of her body was like going woom, 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 because and he thought, that's kind of funny. So, that's the story he always tells all the time. He said, so I thought, well, let's add a little comedy to our wrestling. And that is kind of where that came from. I know David McLean was never, ever happy with that. Never. But you know what? When they say, hey, here's the money, this is the director, and you're the producer, and you want your show, you don't have a lot of, say in what it does. So again, it was different. We had sketches, and of course we had those glow wraps. That was something totally different. But we were never, I will tell you this, we were never ever making fun of pro wrestling. It was just a different vibe or a different type of show. That was different, and it was different. Come on, they do sketches today, my gosh.
Yeah. I'd argue a lot of that stuff back in the day holds up better than some of the skits they do now.
Right, the stuff you see today, you're like, oh, please.
Yeah, I'm like, can we have that little bit of dignity, like the gorgeous ladies of wrestling here, please? Like a little decorum, ladies and gentlemen, in our professional wrestling.
Right, exactly. And it was different when we did it, you guys. 2 things were a little more innocent, but we did get away with a lot of stuff because that first season, we had the Heavy Metal Sisters, that's Chainsaw and Spike. And they were doing things with a watermelon, putting it on a certain woman's head, and just, one was in a straitjacket. So we've got, medical people calling, you can't have wrestlers in medical jackets. You can't do this. You can't do that. But, and then myself and Vine, we were seconds for Matilda Hun, and they would always have the heels against Americana, Little Fiji, and Mountain Fiji. So they're USA, and we're looking like we're from Germany, and we're coming out doing Gestapo stuff. Oh my gosh. You could never get away with that today, but you did back then.
The 80s were awesome. It was really awesome. So I do got a question, though, and if it's not too much of your book, what was the moment that you realized, you know what, entertainment? Because, you mentioned you played sports. You was in the medical field. For you, what was that it moment saying, you know what, I want to be an entertainment. This is my life. This is something that just, you fell in love with entertainment. What was that moment for you?
You know what? It took more than a couple of seasons to feel that way because you're still green, really green. What works, what doesn't work. I think the moment really is when you're out there live and you're touring and you're seeing people on the East Coast and in the South doing, mimicking what you do. Your hair's the same, their posters are up. You've got guys playing Motley Crue, Looks That Kill for your entrance music instead of the glow wraps. Oh, it was amazing. So after the 4 seasons were finished, and we probably wouldn't have, but the money was not there anymore, so there was no glow. That's when I started writing down stuff. I'm like, this is such a great story to write about. This is what I want to do one day. So it's a good thing I did start writing things down because I went back to it. It's not that I forgot, I remembered, but it was the detail. Friday, PSA Airlines, flight 1219, those type of details, where we were on that date, So
Something that immortalizes it. Those numbers are significant, and
they
you know what it
really
is?
are.
That's
And you
definitely
guys,
something that's disappeared in wrestling. Like, I'm so sorry to cut you off.
No, you're not. I cut you off.
I love watching old school wrestling the older I get. It's like that's why they call me the young lion with the old soul. And I love going back, and then they don't say the specific name. You know how we think of like John Cena versus Randy Orton at Backlash 2017. Back then it was like April 6th, 1963.
Right.
Hackenschmidt versus San Martino at the Battle of
look at
whatever.
you.
Like it felt very oral history report, and I mean that in the
Nostalgic.
best way possible. Like that, it's
Yeah.
just like, this is official. This is etched in wrestling history. We carved it into the wall on a tree stump.
No, it's so cool. You're so right. But and we at first, you guys, we didn't even really know if we were popular or not. I'll tell you why, because we didn't get, and I have this in the book, we didn't get the fan mail. And the only reason I know we had fan mail is because on season 3 and 4, we had a new crew of girls coming in. I wasn't thinking of coming back, but I made a deal with them, and we said, yeah, you can live part-time in LA, and then you can come in for the show half the week. So I went in to the office in Los Angeles, and I went to pick up a paycheck, and I looked over at bags of mail in the corner, and I asked the receptionist, Jackie, I go, knowing that I knew it was for us, but I just went, hey, I go, what's that mail over there? She goes, oh, that's the glow mail. I go, what? You guys, I opened it up. I pulled out Hollywood stuff so much. I pulled out one for somebody else, Daisy, someone else. I should have just picked it up, threw that bag over my shoulder, and brought it back to the girls. To not know, that you have those fans. We didn't have these cell phones and stuff, So we didn't know if we were popular till we got on tour, like we were talking about.
Now, were you able to read any of those letters? And then if
Oh,
so,
yeah.
was there anyone that stood out specifically in your head?
Well, there's a couple, some mean ones and some great ones.
Well,
You're my
I think
favorite
of when Jim
wrestler.
Cornette framed somebody sent him a death threat, I believe, in the mail.
Oh, probably, right?
Yeah, you have those moments.
I had someone say, if you ever get off that plane in New York City, I'm going to be there waiting for you. One about the drugs, because I did PSA commercials. They decided that they would have a heel do the PSA commercial, so I did all of them. They really enjoyed that. And then you're one of my favorites, or giving you jewelry. I was in San Diego, and we were doing a show, and this guy came over to me and another character, and he gave us this piece of paper, and it was something hard inside of the paper. And I'm like, oh my God, is this drugs? Is he giving us rocks of cocaine? Remember, this is 80s.
They had you do the drug PSAs, right?
After I did the drug, and I could not imagine what was in this paper. So after the show was done, I ran back to my bag. I opened it up and it was a beautiful blue topaz heart. It was very pretty. Yeah. I still have it. I should have brought it here to show it to you. I still didn't even put it in I didn't know it's so big. I'm like, I guess I would make a pendant out of it. I still haven't done that. That's something that I need to do. Thank you for reminding me.
It's our pleasure. Just to have, thank you. The highest praise, honestly. But sorry, Haas, did you have a question? I didn't mean to cut you off either.
So, from Glow Wrestling, you got catapulted to a lot of different areas, and one thing that that you got to do was you actually got to be in an episode of Married with Children.
Yep.
What was it like working with Ed O'Neill on Married with Children?
First of all, Ed O'Neill is the most funniest man I've ever worked with in my life. He is such an incredible actor. While I was sitting or standing in the ring watching him act with Big Bad Mama, I tried not to laugh. I was sitting there trying to be serious. He was amazing and very kind.
Yeah, I absolutely love watching Ed O'Neill, and I still watch reruns when I can catch them. I'm Married with Children and stuff. So
Yeah.
it just seeing that episode and stuff just it
Well,
really
it brings
was.
back memories for sure, especially for me, because I know exactly what was happening when that's a great episode. It's a two-parter when they go to Las Vegas and they don't have any money. There's a sign that says last 2 minutes in the ring with a Glow wrestler and win $10,000. So, and first of all, how that came about for us to be on that show, when we were selling the show at the convention, it's called NAPA, NATPA, and that's the Association for Television Programming, where all the shows, Oprah back then, and all those different types of late 80s shows are there to pitch their shows to the buyers. But I remember going to visit the executive producers for Married with Children. I didn't know what that meant. I went over there, and I think the farmer's daughter went with me, and our director, we said hello to them. And then, wow, 2 months later, we go straight back to their office because we have an audition. Here's the thing, you guys, usually when you go on audition, there's like 50 of what I look like. There was only her and I. We went into the room to meet the executive producers, and when I looked around the corner, all the writers were there. Now I'm more nervous. I'm like, oh my God. So they introduced us, and then they give us our lines. Hollywood, you go first. And then we switched the lines where Babe did it first. And then he goes, no, we'll go back to the other one. Okay, girls, we'll see you Monday morning at 9 a.m. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. So they already knew that they wanted Glow on their show. So that was a super surprise for me. I was used to, seeing hundreds of women trying to get the same part as you and not getting it.
And then you just had that experience where you finally got one and you were in the room when it happened.
Oh my gosh. Well, before Married with Children, we had it was an old show called We've Got It Made. It was about this blonde girl that talked like Marilyn Monroe, and she was the maid for two of these guys. Anyway, she goes for an audition for the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Myself is in it, Vine's in it, Manuchka's in it, Debbie Debutante is in it. So I think there was 4 of us wrestlers. That was the first one. And then before that was the Kenny Rogers special. So the cool thing about the power of television is huge, you guys. It's amazing. And then that's when you asked the question earlier, when did you think, if you were popular or not, but also going out too, going to clubs or going to places, going through the airport, Hollywood, you know what I mean? You'd be like, you'll turn, love the show. I mean, gosh, it warms your heart, to hear people do that. And then now these conventions, all the conventions I go to, I love it. People are just like, you were my favorite. You were my first crush. And they're like, I'm really sorry. I'm embarrassed. You were my first crush. And I'm like, it's fine. I go, you can say, go ahead. You can say it. I go, it's awesome. And they're bringing in stuff to sign or whatever I have. And they're my favorites. This last one was one of the best. The East Coast. Wow. Some huge fans back there. By God.
They were
Oh, that's a
the
seller.
glorious ladies of wrestling.
Yeah, I was a
Now-
huge fan. I even had the posters and all. I mean, matter of fact, the one right there behind you, I remember that one on my wall several times as a teenager. But yeah, I mean, it was just, I loved it. Yeah, so.
I know I was older than you. You were a teenager. Good for you. And I asked some kids, I'm like, okay, wait a second. How old were you? I go, did you go up? Did you watch it alone? Did your mom say? So some people said my mom wouldn't let me watch it, and a lot of them said, yeah, me, dad, and grandpa would sit there and watch it, and then everybody else would be in the other room. The stories are awesome, you know. I have some in here. I have some fans that had written what it meant to them, so I have their perspectives inside the book. I also have we had to write out all of our matches, you guys. You know, they made us write it out. And you can't see it in here so much, but those notebooks are 40 years old that I have. And I'm writing them out. The rap songs, writing them out. You know, it's so much easier if they just would have said, okay, this is the beginning, freestyle in the, through here, maybe do a high middle or freestyle ending. And that would have been so much easier. It would have, but we're writing it down. I'm thinking, and it wasn't just one match per taping, you guys. I would be in 4. So, thank God my brain was working. You really, and sometimes people forget, but they made it tough by doing it that way. But that's how they had us do it. I mean, and then it was a quick, as far as training, you can go back because people go, oh, they're not wrestlers. Well, we would have been better wrestlers had we had more training. And so for those who'd said they sucked or they were this, but when you only have a few months, that's not enough training. We had Mondo for 2 months, and then we had Princess Jasmine, and then we had another Killer Tomato had come in. Then those girls were gone, and guess who was training? The girls that learned from those girls were training new girls. It's not so you know what I would do? I'm like, I already know that stuff. So I'd have to turn on WWE, WWF at the time, and I'd watch. How do I do this? That flying head scissor. I'm going to learn it. So that's the way I had to learn, you guys, more holds and stuff. So had we had more training, Tina was the same way. Lisa Moretti, when she went in, they said the same thing. She needs training, and they gave her that training. Look, and then she's a Hall of Famer. That's all it was. If we had more training, we would have been a lot better. But we did good for what we had to do.
Well, and if I can just add, I don't really know where the argument lies for some people about choreographing your matches. I'm like, wrestling is already choreographed. It's predetermined. And I'm like, it is a show with an ending. And I'm just kind of like, no, we can't plan it out to the nth degree to make sure we hit all of our spots correctly. And I know that's a bogus argument because there's plenty of matches that have been confirmed, planned out. There's actual backstage photos of The Rock and Steve Austin in an arena while it was empty, going over their spots the day before. I believe it was Mania 17.
I went back. You're right. I've been backstage before during that, and I was like, this is cool. I don't feel so stupid here. They're doing the same thing, going over their stuff. Yeah. I went to one.
DDP and Goldberg, Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage.
I love it. 2
of the most acclaimed matches you could ever possibly think of from that era, written to the T.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't, the argument that you were not a wrestler is not an argument.
Thank you. Cornette hated us. I know he did.
So did you ever have any interest in going to, like, at the time it was NWA and WWF and stuff like that? Did you have an interest in signing with them and taking?
So that's in here too. So let me talk about it a little bit. Mm-hmm. When I had the audition for them in California, I had broke my leg, tib-fib. I broke it in 1997. November, And that interview was in January of 1998. So I had been rehabbing this leg. It was so atrophied. I went down anyway. But still, when you have an injury like that and you don't have all the motion back in your leg and you're still limping, you're very uncomfortable and very nervous. And for me, all I want to do is tell the truth. So I get inside the ring. Jim Ross is down as one of the guys interviewing me and two other guys asking me questions. I get in the ring with one of their guys. We do a little match, come back out, and they liked me very much. I'm like, oh my gosh. I go, I have to tell them the truth. And I looked at him, I go, you guys, I'm super sorry. I said, but I'm right in the middle of a broken leg. Now, fine. If I wanted to really be in that, I would have made my way that way. You guys, for 4 years, I felt like I was living under the roof of my parents. Can't do this. Have to be in at 12. You can't do that. Like, you couldn't do anything. And I was like, man, I just want to be 20 some years old and have a boyfriend and get to go out and be with my friends and party and not get in trouble. You know? So for most of my young 20s, I was wrestling, in jail. I don't want to say it like that, but it was great.
Oh yeah.
But it was like there was a lot of rules there. But you know what? And our director said I had to be tough with the girls. He goes, there was 30, can you imagine though? Today, 30 girls, what happens there's arguments and there's this and this one's, oh, it's crazy. So he was really, really tough on us and very strict. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be strict again. If I get in with another place, I'm not going to have any freedom. And I just wanted my freedom. And you know what, you guys, I love the way things have gone from day one. It's fine. It's okay. I was able to I started doing stunt work. Had I known to do stunts a long time ago, which pays so much more than the wrestling and with the
I'd actually like to talk
residuals.
about that because I have that in my
Yeah.
notes that you did stunt work. So now most people, when it comes to the wrestling bubble, usually think that professional wrestling is very akin to stunt work
hmm
in terms of that, you're still doing stuff for the sake of a production, and then you're essentially avoiding yourself, injuring yourself as least as possible, but making
Right.
something impressive, physically impressive, take place. It's just whether you're in a camera in a stadium or putting it on film reel and then sending it out
Right.
and being watched as a movie later. So is there any overlap between your wrestling training versus your stunt woman training? And
Um,
was there any particular stunt that you did that stood out the most to you?
yes. When you are a pro wrestler, you know how to hit the ground pretty hard, right? We know how to hit that ground. So they call that ground pounder. So I already had that skill. So instance, if you can't do a skill, you better not be going out. You better not say, oh, I can go off, you know, a 100-foot drop or 60-foot drop. Not me. So specific skills, but as hitting the ground as hard as we did, that's perfect. One of them was Days of Our Lives, which was in the Burbank area, and I am from there. And so it wasn't even an interview. They just said, hi, we need you on this date. And I'm like, well, do I need to audition? Nope, you're perfect for this particular actress. Hair was the same color and our bodies were small, not big and, thin. So her name was Nadia, but she played the character Chloe
Yep.
on Days of Our Lives. What she was supposed to do was walk up to a door. It explodes, catches on fire. And what I do is take a fall for her. So we only had to do it 2 times. I did it once with padding on the ground, like this, not a lot. And the second time, director looked at me and he goes, "Can you do it without the pad on the floor?" And now, mind you, I have elbow pads underneath the dress. I've got elbow pads on my knees and then one for my small of my back. I'm like, I look over at my stunt coordinator and I looked at him and I'm like, yes. And he goes, go for it. So I go, yep. I go, we can do it. So it's interesting because on a set that is a not a comedy show, but a what do you call it?
Daytime soap opera.
Yeah, soap opera. I'm sorry. Getting tired. A soap opera. There are so many cameras. There's one way up there, one over here. I couldn't believe all the cameras. So as soon as they said go, action, I did it perfectly. And they're like, cut, time for lunch. So I was done. I mean, probably was 30 minutes on the set. Now, the young lady, the actress, I just had to wait for her. So they had her where I fell like this. They got onto her, and all of a sudden you see her go, you know, after the fall. Like she took them.
Yeah, like she got hurt, but you're the one on the floor.
I was the one that was like, okay. Yeah, but that one stands out the most. And then of course, I am comfortable with guns, so machine guns. Oh my gosh. Not Jag. I worked on Jag, but there's another one. A Chuck. There was a one called Chuck that used to be on TV, and that was another show. And they needed women who were familiar with handling a gun. Yep, that's it.
So did you just? Well, I guess I gotta ask, because how did you get the experience in that? Did you naturally own a gun at home, or
because my dad was in a gun club, and he wanted us to have training when we were young. So I went to that. Now it wasn't like I was shooting guns, because in California, Burbank, you don't shoot guns in the back. You just don't do that. You can go to a range, but it's not like if you were in the South somewhere shooting out your backyard.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I'm assuming you're very familiar with what most people do in the South when it comes to guns and having fun.
Shoot you.
Well, I'm in Tennessee now. I have a, what do you call it?
Yeah, I'm in Georgia, so you know.
Oh my goodness, we're really close.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we're getting rain tomorrow. How about you?
Yeah, it was raining this morning a little bit. We're fixing to probably get some of this off of that hurricane if it comes up a little further.
I know.
It's just as bad down here in Florida, guys.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're gonna get some of that.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get hard.
I got my water wings. I'm ready to float, guys.
Wow, it's crazy in Jamaica. It's hitting Cuba now.
Oh yeah.
Now I have to ask, as a stunt woman, what is the gnarliest injury you've ever taken on set? I always feel the need to ask this, because when I think of stunt people, I think of your Jackie Chan's, and I think of that fall he took. I can't even. There's too many to name. But like, I think it's Police Story, where he jumps through the glass and the bus.
Yes.
And then,
Oh, that's crazy. You mean in stunts?
Yes.
You know what? Nothing dangerous, because I wouldn't put myself in that situation. If they said, oh, we need you to go underwater. Oh yeah, I scuba dive, I snorkel. No. So nothing was gnarly, really. The last one, though, I will tell you, is Holland, Michigan, which was filmed here in Nashville 2 years ago. It's a Nicole Kidman movie. And I got called for a stunt driver. Now, I am not, you know, they weren't looking for high-powered stunts. I'm not Mario Andretti here. But they wanted someone who would be safe in a car, because I played a mom dropping off a child to school. Nicole Kidman was in front of me. She came in with her car, and she comes out, and she's talking to her kid, and I'm behind her just dropping my child off. But you guys, just to do something like that, and the residuals and what you're paid, you're like, I need to do more of this. Yeah.
What's your favorite as far as your genre and all? I mean, would you prefer doing like the stunts with action or horror, or just some more of the comedic, you know, or comedian, whatever comedy?
I like all three of those. Horror, though, is fun. That would be super scary.
So have you got to meet like Kane Hodder and stuff like that? Because I mean, he's big in stunt. Obviously, Jason, you know, but
no.
Oh man, see, that's a dream of mine. I would love to meet him, and of course, I got the wrestling background too, so I do all that. As far as him, that is hands down like my idol when it comes to horror and stunts and all. Kane Hodder, hands down.
That's great. That's cool. Yeah, I'm lucky if the phone rings and I'm like, yes, you know, I don't get to pick and choose. And now that I'm in Nashville, that hinders me a lot, because living in California, there was more work there. However, you know, Georgia has a lot of, because you've got that studio out there.
Yeah, Atlanta's getting big. I think a lot of stuff now is coming out of Atlanta.
It is.
You have Tyler Perry that's just skyrocketed down here.
Yeah, and and of course you guys had The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to be one of those zombies so
I
bad.
worked on one of the sets.
I think you can still do it. I think there's always time to be a zombie. You can be like,
My
"I'm a
girlfriend
zombie number
was.
3."
Yeah, zombies would have been cool. Here's my little kitty. Can you see her?
Yes, we can.
She's
Hello.
visiting
So you're a
you.
cat person.
Oh my gosh. This is Zoe. Lay down. I know she wants to jump on those curtains.
Let's not have that on camera.
No, because no, we don't want you to do that. She wants attention. That's what it is. You guys, but I love horror, and action would be fun too. And again, with that kind of thing, it is a mom and pop. You need to know somebody. That nepotism is always, they take you under your wing, and you got to know somebody. I know that's like everything, but especially the stunts, that was just, you'll get more work, obviously. My first one was, I do have to tell you this though, because you just reminded me. The first stunt job I ever did was at the lake, and it was called Beneath Loch Ness. Beneath Loch Ness, I have this white wig on because I am going to stunt for the actress. I'm in the boat with another stunt man. They have hydraulics under the boat, so the boat's gonna so Loch Ness really is underneath us. Come on. The Loch Ness is underneath the boat, but they've got these hydraulics set up to blow the boat up. Oh my gosh. To blow the boat up. And my friend said, "You should have seen your face." I said, "I only did that look because the man next to me went like that." And I'm like, "I better take a deep breath too." And we went into the water, and we only had to do it once. So that was great, but that was pretty neat. And then Armageddon, I forgot about that. I did one called a horror movie, Armageddon. I had to hang upside down for the actress because I was, stunting for her. She did not want to be upside down on a cross. And that's interesting.
I can
Hanging
definitely
upside-
understand somebody for religious reasons not wanting to do it.
Yeah,
but the
me
hanging
too.
upside down part, that's intense. Like I've
It
stretched
is
and the blood
intense.
rushes to my head. I can't even.
That's
imagine
it. But they can
upside
time
down.
you. They only could time. It was like, I don't know if it was 30 seconds, but they had someone timing. Cut, boom, and of course, I would suggest older people not do these type of things. Young people. I know the older people can do it, but you know what? I was on a set, and one of the guys said, he goes, "I'd rather hire younger kids than older because they don't have the issues that old people have." So it's like a wrestler. My neck hurts. My back hurts. I have 7 screws and 2 plates in this leg. So, I've
More
got
surgery done than me.
and
I'm
2 broken
fragile and I
arms.
break
Those are
easy.
all those are in there too. But this book is cool because I will tell you, there's part 1. It's just the way I grew up.
Can you forward me a copy? I'm really interested in reading.
Yes, text me. Part 2 was all about glow. Part 3 is what I did after. And you guys, this is 400 pages, and I made it simple and easy to read because that's me. I don't want $20 words in here. And then there's a lot of photos of growing up, and of course, glow, and then after. So everything I tell everybody, everything in this book is not exaggerated. I'm not making them up. I do not lie. These are things that happened in my life. I've had a very interesting and full life, for sure.
Absolute trendsetter and pathway paver, if I have to put it.
And then my soap company, because I like making soap, I just thought I like things that don't have any preservatives in it, and soap was one of those.
It's not in the Fight Club way, right, with Edward Norton, where you're dumping the chemical in your hand and it's
Ew, I saw Fight Club. I watched that again. Oh my goodness, I had to see it again because I had forgotten it. Yeah.
You're not stealing a bunch of fat from a bag from a dumpster, right?
Yeah, wasn't that gross? I was like,
yeah. Well, you've worked in Hollywood, so I'm sure you've had to have these conversations with other people, but you're like, no, I'm not actually going to do that.
No.
So we get a couple of questions here in the comments. So Susie, who actually she's my sister, she lived in Florida for a little while, and she actually met Attila the Hun when she lived in Florida.
Oh,
So she was wondering, for one, how well you and Attila got along, and she
Dee
was
Brewer.
also and she was also wondering about your favorite match ever.
Oh, good. So I did a lot of matches in the Four Seasons, but Matilda and I, her real name is Dee Brewer. We were second, so we did a lot of things together. And she was very funny, and she was very knowledgeable because she'd been in the business for a long time. So I learned a lot from her. Very funny. She always called her husband Poopsie, and he supported her all the time. Favorite match. Well, most memorable match would be the one I was talking to you guys earlier about, Nazis against the Americans. Oh, when I went out to the diving board, we filmed at the Riviera Hotel in the season 1 and 2. After the show, I walked out to my room and the diving board was covered with Nazi signs. And I got so scared. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, these people really think. And I started running to my room. I just got so nervous about that. I was like,
That
damn.
is what we call real heel heat, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. That was scary. I think the very first one would be more memorable because I hadn't been in front of a live audience before. It was against Lisa Moretti, which is played the character Tina, and her partner Ashley, and it was Vine against us. And we had rehearsed this over and over and over for the very first to make the pilot. The pilot was December 5th, which is coming up. This will be 40 years. December 5th. What would that be? 1985. So December 5th, 1985 is when we filmed the pilot. When I came out to do this match, we had rehearsed it over and over and over, where the cameras are going to be, what's happening here. All of a sudden, Lisa Moretti comes over to me and slaps me across the face so hard. I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, that felt embarrassing. And where did that come from? I was like, oh my God, what? Like, we didn't rehearse that. So right away, that one, I was like, okay, this is how we do it. And from then on, every time I was in the ring, I love the look of surprise on people. It's great. You don't have to screw up inside the ring. You do everything you're supposed to. But when you're going outside the ring, I had props. Like I might want a beer can under there. I might want water under there. I used to say to all the cameramen in the audio, because everything was put down with cords, right? Lines. I'd say, you guys, which one of these, lines here or chords can I pull up that won't interrupt with what you're doing? And they would mark one with like a neon color, and then I'd pull it up, put it around someone's neck, throw them into the audience. And so, or if I had to hold someone for a little bit, I'd add a few more seconds or more just to see their face. People go, come on, Hollywood, come on, let me go. I'm like, not yet. Not yet. Yeah, the heel part was fun. Could only get away with it there. I love my job. Couldn't you tell? It was so
Absolutely.
fun. I did. You're laughing at me.
Reminiscing very kindly on these choking people with extension cord.
I did. Well, not choke them, but come on, pretend.
We can definitely tell you enjoyed your role a little bit.
I loved it.
And also, Mike Rand, he said that he's met you at the shows before and everything, and he was saying to ask you about when you were on Family Feud.
Oh, hi, Mike, by the way. Thanks for listening, watching and listening. So Mike knows that I did 15 shows and I was on all of those. And we were against the WCW. I always get asked, was Sting flirting with you on that? Or were you flirting with him? I go, I had a boyfriend. I go, yes, he was flirting. Of course he was. It was fun. The show was great. I think Mike was telling me, we had this conversation at Chiller that we only won 2 of, those rounds they have at the end. Out of 15 shows, he said we won 2. That's it. But the cool thing was, you guys, we played for charity. So any money that we did win was going straight to charity. But those were fun. And when we filmed, I thought, oh, we're just going to film 1 show. No, you were there for 5. So when we came back the second time, another 5, and the third time, another 5. But, I always wanted to win regardless if I knew the answer or not, and they go, survey says, I would just hit the button and then I have to guess something stupid because I couldn't think fast enough. It's true. That's why you got some weird answers. But it was all fun.
We've definitely seen some footage on YouTube of people who can give out some pretty bad Family Feud answers. So I don't know how bad yours might hold up to some of the crazier ones I've seen.
Mine was something about what size is a large baby? I think Mike told me I said 30 pounds.
Good God.
I don't know. It depends how old the baby is.
True.
I'm sure 8 or 9 or 10 probably was the number one answer. 30 was not up there.
It was when I was born.
There you go.
I can't speak for everybody else.
There you go.
So, well, we really appreciate you joining us tonight, and it seems like we just barely got to scratch the surface on things. So, we'd love to have you come back with us sometime, and
let's do part 2, guys.
Definitely.
Will you like to? I would like to do part 2 with you. I promise it won't take 4
me the
months.
Book. We can talk about it. You got to forward it to me. I'll hit you up after
All
the
right.
show.
Just get a hold of me, please. Yeah, you need to read it, and then you can ask me some questions.
So
I like that. Then I'll know you read it. Haha. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I'll come back. Russell Cade's coming up, you guys. I'll be there. Salem, Winston, North Carolina, the day after Thanksgiving. That'll be my last convention of the year. So I'm excited about that. I've never been to Russell Cade before. So if you guys are in North Carolina or in the area out there, please come and say hello.
Buy tickets for Russell Cade, guys.
There you go.
Yeah, well, as Ace said, he's in Georgia, and Gabriel, he's in Florida. I'm out here in West Virginia, so we're kind of spread all over.
You're close. You're closer. Yeah, I love that where we are. You guys are the Devil's Triangle. No.
That is the new combination. That's
what? I'm just tired, and that's the first thing that came to my mind.
I need that in writing. That sounds cool. The Devil's
I dig it. The Devil's Triangle. You don't hear that saying that much anymore.
No, you really don't.
No, huh? And I love history. Oh, yes, I'm coming on. We won't talk anymore, but yes. I'll come back on. If you guys want to know more, you can go to my social media. Instagram is official Glow Hollywood. If you're a Facebook person, these days it's under my last name. Basone Jeanne Marie is where you'll find me. And if you're X, it's Glow Hollywood.
And where can they pick up the book?
Oh, yeah. I have the link at those social medias, or there's Amazon.com. However, when you order from Amazon, it won't be signed unless you bring it to me. So if you want an autograph, it'll be Etsy. My Etsy is Glow Hollywood Merch. GLOW Hollywood MERCH. Or just do it. You can search. Just type in Google. Google, everything comes up. You know that.
So, all right. Well, thank you very much for being here. We really enjoyed it. And like I said, we'll definitely have to have you come back because, there's just seems like
there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
When I'm enjoying myself, you can see that I talk about things, and I was enjoying myself. So thank you so much for having me.
I'm just glad we know you're enjoying yourself.
Thank you. Have a great night and happy Halloween, everybody.
It's been a pleasure.
And I'd like to be the first to welcome you to our Wrestle Talk podcast family. So,
All right. Take care, everyone. Good night.
all right. Thank you.
I enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
All right.
I'll be the first to say she is still hot. I didn't want to say that and embarrass myself then, but
She hasn't been off the screen for 4 seconds, Ace, man. Come on.
Behind her, I had that on my wall, and I'm just like still kind of starstruck the whole time she's there, and I'm like, I'm going to try.
And you guys call me a nerd. Come on, dude. What are we doing? All right. Like, I know I lost my mind when Joe Dombrowski was on the program, but can we keep it a little professional? 5 seconds after the lady has left, can we some decorum, gentlemen? Some decorum.
Yeah, and FYI, she was still in the back and heard it. So
exactly. See, professionalism. Hollywood, I'm very sorry for my constituents, but thank you. I just gotta say, man, in the most professional sense, women do age like fine wine because this woman has done it all. She's said it all. She's here to tell us that we're having a great time as we're telling these stories, and she's got a pet cat and it's adorable, right? Like what we can do no wrong with Hollywood. Just say.
I'm wondering now. This is where I would love to see that story go there because she's already got the book, right? And I think it would be great to see that like on the screen. You know what I'm saying? Make a movie about her. That would be awesome. You know. So I mean, I'd watch it because I mean she just got a lot to talk about, and I'm sure the book just has so much stuff in there, and that would be great to actually see that played out.
yeah, and I mean, I've seen her on other interviews where she's mentioned, you know, that when it comes to the book, it's broke up in kind of 3 sections. You know, it's got her wrestling in there, it's got her personal life, you know, her growing up and stuff in there, and it's even got a section and I meant to bring it up and didn't get around to it, but she even has a true crime in there, and so she talks about an incident with her in the book. So definitely something that, you know, if you haven't heard it, you got to go, you got to read the book, pick it up and check it out, you know. And it was just great to talk with her tonight. She was very interesting and just really great to talk with. So, you know, gentlemen, anything else you guys want to say before we get out of here?
No, just remind everybody to tune in Thursday, FWWC Tonight, hosted by yours truly. It's going to be an awesome show, so tune in.
And of course, we got to hit those sponsors one more time. Mr. Arsene, would you like to hit those sponsors for us?
Best I can. I just got to clear up my screen here real quick. So the Wrestle Talk podcast would, as always, like to thank our fantastic sponsors, including Retro Zone, Painter's Dream Productions, that's head by R1, Big Daddy P, the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, Doomed Outfitters, that's accompanied by this gentleman to my right over here, our one and only Ace. We have the World Domination Wrestling Alliance. You can head up their recap highlight shows with John Haas and Gavin. And of course, the FWWC, the world's premier professional wrestling fantasy group.
Where you get to
get all that.
Where you get to see all of us show out.
The Devil's Triangle.
You don't want to scare them off. But yeah, gentlemen, it has been great. You know, I've enjoyed tonight. You know, Ace, thank you for coming on with us.
Anytime.
You know, Gabe, thanks for joining as always.
Thank you for picking up my slack, gentlemen. You guys are the real MVPs here tonight. I just smiled and looked pretty.
You said somebody weighed themselves in body bags. I think from now on, I'm going to weigh myself in Sour Patch Kids and be like, you know what? You know, that's going to be about 4 bags.
So I hate you because now I want Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, man, I can kill them things. That's like my addiction outside of coffee.
Mine is Pringles.
So, all right, gentlemen, that'll be it for tonight. And, you know, once again, thank you, everybody, for being here. And, you know, make sure that you share the program. And, you know, that way other people can check us out as well. Be sure to, if you're on Facebook, send us some stars. Help keep us going that way. And, you know, we just thank each and every one of you for your support. Be sure to tune in 2 weeks when we will be back with another great episode of Wrestle Talk Podcast. And I will be back next week with a episode of Elevation, brought to you by Wrestle Talk Podcast and World Domination Wrestling Alliance. So, we hope to see you then, and have a good night.